Hello and welcome back to Podcasting as Praxis. I'm David, my pronouns are he and him.
I'm Jamie, my pronouns are he and him.
I'm Rob, mine are he and him.
I'm Alistair, my pronouns are he and him.
I sound dejected, it's because I'm doing a cultural committee, but it's not the one that I wanted to fucking do.
Nope.
Rob's fault.
Yep.
Thanks, Rob.
So anyway, I decided that we've been having far too much fun talking about things we like during cultural committees. So I thought we should, turn left, essentially, turn left Dale, and I thought we should talk about something less good. I thought we should talk about, once again, yet another failed attempt of the movie industry to adapt a videos game for the big screen. And we're not watching the Mario thing, so instead we watched the Uncharted movie, which came out last year.
No, we're not watching the Mario thing because the Mario thing was good.
Was it though?
It was actually quite good, yeah.
Doesn't it have that like Christian dipshit in it? What's he called?
Chris Pratt, yeah.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, Jamie, it is a film marketed at children that is satisfies what children want out of a Mario movie. So you do in fact gotta hand it to them.
Yeah,
I think you will find I will never hand it to Chris Pratt. That's just.
Yeah, I mean, it's just nice to see Jack Black and Charlie Day have a good time, you know.
Is it though?
That's all you need to get from it. Yeah, it is nice to see that. Yeah. But anyway, we're not going to fucking talk about that because you decided we'd do something far fucking worse.
Yeah, like I said, we basically I just do these things to listen to David sigh. It's very good for me. It works for me very much.
Yeah, it's like Rob took aim at let's do a cultural committee on something Rob likes and just missed Assassin's Creed and somehow landed on Uncharted instead.
That's because the Assassin's Creed movie is also dog shit, but somebody vetoed us doing Assassin's Creed. I can't remember who that was. Was
there any Scottish people in it? Because if there was, then it's even for me.
It's been a while since I've seen it. So yeah, Uncharted was released last year, but apparently had been in production or development since 2008, which is incredible. It ran through 6 or 7 directors as well as 8 or 9 different leads until they settled on the truly remarkable pair of Tom Holland, looking more like an in-betweeners cast member than I've ever seen anybody look, and and Marky Mark Wahlberg as Sully. And for those of you who've played the games, you're thinking that makes no fucking sense, and you would be right because he looks...
I haven't played the games, but I am familiar with Mark Wahlberg's long history of hate crimes. So does that count for anything?
I mean, pretty much, I have played the games. Am I the only one who's played the games, by the way? Because then my banter's going to be...
No, I think they sold 1 million copies.
I haven't played them, no.
I haven't played them because they seem exactly like the kind of game that I absolutely fucking hate from AAA game development studios.
Imagine, watch the film again, but pause it every fucking 60 seconds to press a button on your controller. Probably get you the same experience, I think.
I'm pretty sure that I got one of them bundled with the PlayStation and I never took it out the cellophane.
So many precious QuickTime events you're missing out on, David.
Oh no!
So many great on rails behind cover shooter moments you lost like tears in brain.
Excellent. I mean, at least the film's got a fucking quality mark that it was able to achieve. Then.
Yeah, imagine missing out on crucial callbacks to the video games where you can go, wow, I remember climbing that wall in the game.
I genuinely, if there were callbacks to the movie, I don't remember them. There were callbacks to better movies, though.
I mean, there must have that bit where they fucking wash up on the beach and tell that guy they fell out of a plane, and he goes, "Oh, something happened to me once." Was he not in the fucking game?
Is he the voice actor for the game?
I don't. I saw that and I was like, "Oh yeah, I was going to look that up," and then I didn't. So I have no idea who the fuck.
Oh well, we'll never know.
Rip to that guy. No, but there are callbacks to much better movies, notably Indiana Jones, which is just that's the movie you're missing when you're watching this shit.
Yeah, it was extremely fucking bold to bring up an easily comparable, much better film series.
Do you know what it is though? Indiana Jones, not that fucking great. Rewatched. Well, I didn't watch the two newer ones.
No, of course not.
Rewatched the original trilogy a while back, and they're like very mid. It's another one of those things that because everyone watched it as a kid in the 80s, they think it's like the greatest fucking shit ever, and it's not that good. Like Temple of Doom is just a straight up hate crime. Like they should remake that with fucking Mark Wahlberg in.
Now Temple of Doom is fairly atrocious.
Indiana Jones is best when it's just fighting Nazis. Like that's what's good about it. Other things happen, but mainly the Nazi fighting bits are good.
They're just nice movies. They're like proper, they're adventure movies in like the truest sense. It's, they go on quest and punch Nazi. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
It is also fine for a film to be like mid-tier. Like, I mean, I don't know exactly what the budgets for the Indiana Jones films were like relative to the time, but like a film can just be fine, and that's also fine. Whereas this film felt like it was trying to be so far fucking grandiose beyond its.
I mean, this
impression I got watching it was that literally every single fucking scene in this probably happened in the games.
So far as I remember, it doesn't. But like Alice said, to your point about the budget, this movie has a budget of about 120 million US. So while you're looking at it, every minute is $1 million, and it paid for itself.
If.
Yeah. Anyway, so we open the movie with a scene that is a direct rip from the video games, because this I do remember actually. I remember little, but I do remember that. It's basically there's a bunch of crates like hanging out of the back of a big cargo plane, sort of flapping in the wind, and we see
it's the Living Daylights.
Is that I haven't seen the Living Daylights in fucking forever.
Well, there's a bit where like all the fucking like cargo stuff hangs out the back of the plane, and James Bond fights a guy on it. Okay,
well, this also happens in one of the Uncharted games. I want to say the third.
I think James Bond came first.
Aye. That's the thing about these games, though. It's like they're just shitty porn for fucking nerds who can't accept that video games aren't like the fucking like thing your dad will be proud of you for playing. Like it's for those people who just wish video games were art on the same level as films, and it's like, well, maybe make them good then. Maybe don't just like do what if a film, but you have to do a quick time event every 2 minutes to keep it playing. Like, fuck off.
Yeah, I think that that's basically what the Uncharted film video games rather are, aren't they?
You get exactly the same effect watching something on a VHS when the tracking would keep going out and you had to keep pushing pressing the remote to make it fucking like tune back in.
Yeah, in order for this film to stop annoying you, you have to push a button over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, none of us were able to work out this movie, to work out where this button was for the movie.
That's basically Sony have cornered the market in that bullshit as well, because like all of the worst fucking games that look just like what if a film with button presses are from like a PlayStation exclusives, aren't they?
I mean, what have they got? Metal Gear Solid series. So.
Yeah,
Naughty Dog really fell off because when they should have just kept making fucking Crash Bandicoot games and like you said with this fucking garbage.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be serious art that gets like pieces written in fucking newspapers about how fucking emotional the end of like fucking guy shoots mushrooms, whatever the fuck that game was called is.
Yeah, well maybe they could have just made a game fun, like that might have been something. But
games aren't meant to be fun though. They're meant to prove once and for all that your dad was wrong about you.
Not every fucking video game can be pathologic, though, to be fair.
So anyway, so it's the it is the sixth highest grossing videos game movie of all time, coming in just above the Angry Birds movie.
Top 5.
I just looked at this list. Warcraft is second. Jesus.
Wasn't that film like entirely made and marketed for in China?
I haven't seen it.
No.
I'm fairly sure that was like only successful in China.
It tanked boys' kids' fucking career, didn't it, before it got started?
So one is
other than the fact I've seen advertisements for it at the time and then fucking silence.
It's fucking dreadful. It's literally just like Imagine the kind of person who gives a shit about like why there's like a fucking haunted mountain in like fucking World of Warcraft or some bullshit, and then imagine like sitting through 3 hours of them talking to you on the bus. That was basically what that film was. It's like, all right, oh, cool. So the orcs are from space, are they? I don't give a fuck, mate.
Yeah, but they used to be brown, Jamie.
Yeah, J.R.R. Tolkien can't sue us if the elves have jetpacks. Fuck you.
So yeah, number 1 is the Super Mario Brothers movie. Number 2 is Warcraft. The third is the Pokemon Detective Pikachu thing.
That one was good.
Mm-hmm.
That one was decent. Yeah. The fourth one was Rampage, which I don't even remember as being a thing.
What, the game or the film?
Both.
Right, the game was like on the Atari 800 or some shit, and it was literally just you had a screen with like some skyscrapers on it, and 3 different monsters that could run on and climb up and down the skyscraper and punch the buildings until they fell down.
Well,
they've taken a bit of a fucking license calling this a video game film then.
They made a film of that with The Rock. There's like one of the fucking, like, I think the 3 monsters were like a Godzilla, a King Kong, and I don't know, some kind of like a Cloverfield or something. I don't know what third monster you had in the 80s, but like in the film, I've seen the trailer for the film, and I'm pretty sure it's like The Rock is like just a big fucking like hench dude that looks after a gorilla, and then like the army. Like,
he's a primatologist.
He loves to play to type, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, they shoot the gorilla with like a fucking chemical that makes it massive, and he has to do sign language to get the gorilla to put like the fucking Chrysler building back. While it's like running around New York twatting people with it. I assume, anyway.
Okay.
So and then it's Sonic the Hedgehog Part 2, which apparently deserves a Part 2. And then it's Uncharted, and then whatever, and then it just goes. Let's just see what the lowest ranking one is.
Where's Doom on this? I want to know where Doom is on the list.
This is some quality patter, but you know that's what happens.
Do you know what? I feel like
36.
I feel like I feel like I'm going to remember the fucking Doom film more fondly than I'm going to remember the fucking Uncharted film.
Yeah,
I feel like, God willing, I'm not going to remember the Uncharted film.
But you know, David, you'll be pleased to hear
I had seen it before. I watched it today for the podcast, and honestly, it was new to me.
You'll be pleased to hear, though, that Doom made less money than the Hitman movie, the Rupert Friend one.
Oh, no.
What, is that accounting for inflation?
Anyway, scene opens, they're dangling out of the back of a cargo plane. There's some really sort of mid-level repeat sort of action series as they hop from crate to crate in midair, and they're doing quips already.
Remember how shit it looked when like fucking Legolas like surfed on the shield in fucking Lord of the Rings, and then like jumped on the elephant, or when Sam Raimi's Spider-Man jumped across all the rooftops because they just got like a guy from like, I don't know, fucking like EverQuest to come in and just animate a 3D body for them, because no one in Hollywood knew how to do that. Tom Holland jumping over these fucking things just looks like that. Yeah. Absolutely, like no one on this film understands the first thing about physics, like on an intuitive level, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just like he's hanging out the back of this plane, and it's like there's wind rushing past him, but he can just like jump forward onto the next thing, and he doesn't just immediately, like as soon as he lets go, he doesn't just immediately fling off the back, you know.
I
mean, like that all the way through.
Yeah,
you know, I give a slight pass to like the Lord of the Rings films, considering that was like 20 years ago in terms of CGI. But the problem they've got now is that they just don't want to pay the people who can actually do the shit, do the shit to make it look good. So that's the only excuse they've got now.
So anyway,
I mean, they had presumably had animations for fucking Nathan Drake doing this in the game. I would not be surprised if they just ported those over to like fucking, you know what I mean? Just like saved those animations on a floppy disk and posted it to Industrial Light and Magic. Fucking post-it note on it that says, "Pick the bits out of this."
Yeah, so apart from atrocious CGI, the other thing that this movie already establishes in its opening shot, which is quite true to the video games, is there's just an endless conga line of shite patter, just like from beginning to end. It's
in the game, is Nathan Drake 12 years old? Or did they make that up for the film?
No, he plays in most of the games, like most of the time.
He looks like an adult man, does he not?
I think he's supposed to be somewhere between like 25 and 35, I'd say. Give or take. I don't know. He's supposed to be like at least a semi-functioning adult.
Right. Because Tom Holland just didn't look well out of place. Do you know what I mean?
He looked like a little baby man on a green screen.
It looked like Bring Your Kid to Work Day.
Except for that really odd scene later where all of a sudden he's like doing pull-ups on the pull-up bar and he's like massively jacked and you're like, what? Why is this in the movie? I'm really confused now.
Someone was lifting him. You couldn't see his feet. Someone was lifting him up and down there, I bet.
You know, like some like video game adaptation stuff, like fucking what's it called, the Mushroom TV show, where they got Pedro Pascal. Yeah, Last of Us, Pedro Pascal, like that, like doesn't really look like.
I haven't watched that.
Doesn't really look like the guy from the video game, but that's fine. Like you
don't need to.
It's not jarring to think he is the protagonist of this TV show. That's fine.
Yeah, he fits the bill of the character.
Yes, exactly.
Imagine if they'd had to stick to that rule for the Mario movie, and they have to like find a Chris Pratt who's as tall as he is wide.
Yeah,
I was saying this from the start. Danny DeVito should have played Mario.
Yeah.
Oh man, that would have fucking ruled.
Yeah, so this is like
Did anyone actually speaking of DeVito? Did anyone see the last fucking Jumanji movie?
No.
Where it had Danny DeVito and he gets sucked into like the fucking video game version of Jumanji or whatever, and they replace him with The Rock.
I did see
either
that.
The Rock or that fucking homophobic dipshit that does all the comedies with The Rock.
That's not Danny DeVito. That's Jack Black.
What?
I'm fairly sure that has
because I'm sure we watched one, like it was fucking shit and I don't remember it, but I'm sure Danny Glover and Danny DeVito got sucked into the fucking video game and like were then played for the rest of the film by like two fucking idiots.
And
why would you get Danny DeVito and then replace him with the fucking Rock of all people?
Because he's busy filming better things.
But yeah, just a snippet of
Danny DeVito's too old. He couldn't have done the action scenes, and it's like, then write a different film. You've got Danny DeVito. Don't cater to The Rock. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, just put Danny DeVito. It
should be day one shit. This when you're screenwriting. Quite frankly, if you can get Danny DeVito, fuck The Rock.
Yeah, I don't. Let's be honest. The Rock hasn't ever done a scene as good as Danny DeVito climbing out of a sofa naked. So,
yeah.
But yeah, just to give you like an impression of the shite patter that's throughout this movie. This is when Tom Holland, Nathan Drake meets some girl in a bar, and they're having terrible flirt banter. Girl says,
"What about the bit in the opening scene where he finally manages to like fucking platform game his way back onto the plane, and then like someone drives a sports car at him, and he just goes like, 'Oh, come on,' as he gets like hit by a car."
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you would say.
Well, that happened.
Yeah.
We fly now.
Honestly, I think they should have given this film to Abrams. It would have at least been funnier.
Yeah, I just want to say right now, I did not laugh a single time throughout this film, which is very impressive.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's like a time skip back to the beginnings of Nathan Drake, which sort of goes along with the video game. There's like an opening scene where they very clumsily break into a museum with a exhibit about Magellan, which is...
Yeah, they break into the museum to steal a map and do exposition.
Yes, it's the Museum of Exposition, yes.
Just fucking, just total dog shit, really, you know?
Do you reckon every exhibit has like just like a big long text box that just scrolls past as you're looking at it?
Yeah. It did just feel like, you know what I mean? You had to keep pressing the button to skip on to the next, like, get him to say the next paragraph.
Yeah, there's also a bit later on in the movie where, like, I think it's Tom Holland and the bad guy, played by Antonio Banderas, are having some really shite dialogue, and Tom Holland says something like, "Oh yes, Magellan sailed around the world," and then the other guy goes, "Oh wow, what are you, a history buff?" It's like, no, you got to be real smart for that little factoid to just come up right there. Fucking hell.
To be honest,
followed up by a well, actually, it's fucking everything you want it to be. That scene, it's great.
Yeah, I mean, I found Antonio Banderas as like the least annoying of any of the characters in this. I don't know about the rest of you.
Yeah.
And like, and
that's why they killed him off really early.
Fucking. Like, what
probably
the fuck?
Again though, yeah, they had Antonio Banderas there, fully raring to go. He would chew any scenery they asked, and they just like shunt him off so that someone else can be the villain for the last half of the film. And it's like, the fuck is wrong with people?
Yeah, because he looked like the only one who was having a good time, like a reasonably good time.
100%.
Yeah. Anyway, so like it's them. They get arrested in the museum. They get kicked back to. They live in an orphanage.
Yeah, they get arrested because they're the worst fucking robbers ever. They climb in a window, stand and look at a map for a bit, and then like the lights come on and the guards turn up and they just stand there.
Yeah, the guard says, "Hey, you," and they just like deer in headlights. They just wait to be arrested. It's incredible. Yeah, so Sam, Nate's older brother, then says, "I'm not getting arrested," because it's like one of many times he's been arrested, and he literally disappears out the window, not before giving Tom Holland the ring that may or may not belong to the actual Francis Drake, the explorer, with the.
Is that what that was? Because I don't think that came up, did it?
No, but it's like a central plot point in the game, so that's why.
Well, I don't give a fuck about that. I haven't played the games.
But presumably it sets up sequels.
I remember seeing that.
It just sets up sequels. That's what it's there for.
It sets up sequels.
Because it's the other thing
does the fucking box office that it got set up sequels as well?
Yes, it does. It made more than $400 million.
How?
Welcome to the Magellan cinematic universe.
Well, you were saying earlier that this game has sold millions of copies. So if each of those people, assuming it is like 1 million people, then if they each paid $400, poor baby.
Money well spent, yeah. And then it sort of says the shite motto, which is in all of the games as well, which is the inscription on the ring says "Sic Parvis Magna," which badly translates to greatness from small beginnings, i.e. you can be, grow up in an orphanage and then you can, I don't know, grow up to find some ships or some shit. That's what that means.
Grow up to like just cause a fucking maritime disaster in the Philippines. We believe in you.
To be fair, there are people causing worse things.
But we do not trust you. Never trust people is the core fucking truth of this film. I hate it. Every single fucking thing is a fucking... every single character interaction is an exercise in betrayal, and it gets tedious after the third time, and that's me being generous, and it happens like another 7 after that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to like the sort of constant like crossovers and betrayals because it's incredibly unfunny. So we time skip again, and Nathan, I think, is at least now of like US drinking age, so he must be like 21.
Allegedly.
I mean, yeah, he still looks like he drives a car with a mismatched door, but whatever.
Yeah, they call him fucking boat wanker.
Yeah. And he's working in a bar, and he's doing like incredibly shit, like cocktail flair, like he's just tossing bottles behind his back.
Look, Rob, Tom Holland spent years upon years at the mixologist dojo, so like, how dare you besmirch his hard work?
If you're going to watch like an actor juggle bottles, fucking watch Tom Cruise in Cocktail, which is the far better movie of like if you're going to watch that kind of shit.
No.
This was the first part of the film that made me properly mad at it, because he walked into his job and engaged positively with a customer who wanted a cocktail and asked for a more interesting cocktail to be made. Anyone who works behind the bar and enjoys making a cocktail is a paedophile. Like, a cocktail being ordered in a bar deserves contempt and nothing more. Please fuck off.
Buy a pint like a sane person.
Yeah, buy a pint or a fucking spirit in a mixer. Otherwise, go away.
Yeah, but isn't he wearing a waistcoat for that job?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
That's a whiskey to you, Jamie.
in a bar in Manhattan. You know, they probably fucking like everyone drinks cocktails because it's so sophisticated.
I mean, nothing wrong with a good cocktail, of course, but.
Oh, here we go.
Did you ever think it was going to go anywhere else? For quite frankly,
Rob, this is a hard drive inspection checkpoint.
VAR response, Ponce.
So he.
Sorry, but just as someone who's worked in a bar and seen someone like actually try to enjoy it, it made me angry and I didn't like it. It took me right out of the film.
No, I get it. Like, if you're working in a pub, like, you should be, you know, of course you're ordering cocktails. That's just bad news. But, you know, good cocktail bar.
I mean, to be fair, David, if you went up to the bar and you just saw a child, you just assume that they're on like work experience or something. So yeah, probably are going to try and have fun with it.
He's chatting up some blonde girl who orders a cocktail, and he starts talking about the history of the cocktail, which is incredibly boring. And then we get this incredibly like fun, you know, like banter dialogue between him and the random girl ordering the cocktail. Girl, you're kind of weird, but kind of cute too. Nathan Drake, well, then I'm kind of offended, but I'm also kind of flattered. That's it.
This definitely dialogue warrants $400 million.
The worrying thing is I got this from a website that says these are the best movie quotes of the movie Uncharted, which is...
No lies detected.
Yeah. So then, like, our young bartender gets noticed by an older, more sophisticated man who promises who wants to take him with.
He's cleaning up in the bar and he sees a guy outside stoning children racistly. Fucking hate Mark Wahlberg, in case that's not obvious.
So this is the introduction to Marky Mark, who plays Sully, the second sort of lead character in the movies. And in the video games, I should say. And he's just like, I saw that you like pickpocketed that girl who was flirting with you, or you were flirting with her. Who gives a shit? The one with the shy dialogue. And actually, I need I have a big important job coming up, and I need a guy, and you're the guy because apparently you could do something.
Yeah, it's so fucking stupid. It's like, right, so they established that, like, fucking Spider-Man can, like, he's got hands, he can fucking, like, nick things off people. He's a good pickpocket, right? And then, like, this fucking guy turns up and he's like, oh, I see you pickpocketing people, you're really good at that. And then pickpockets the thing he stole. And it's like, well, if you can do that as well, what the fuck do you need him for? It's the worst heist move I've ever seen. You know, like, imagine if Heat started with like an hour of people just arguing about whether they wanted to be in a bank robbing gang first, you know, like, oh, you're really good at shooting people. Do you want to join my bank robbing gang? We've only got 3 guys who are good at shooting people. We need a 4th. Diversify that skill set. And everyone, like, you know, fucking like De Niro's like, no, I don't feel like robbing banks. But then, you know, ends up in the crew anyway after. I hate fucking films doing this now. I know it's like the fucking hero's journey or whatever, that you like the hero first has to reject the call, but I'm fucking tired of it. Like, do you know what I mean? Just say to me, like, right, okay, well, the film actually starts like at 46 minutes in, and I'll just skip to that. I don't need to see like the fucking, you know what I mean, the tedious like back and forth.
Yeah, every film should be like the SGDQ, where you can just click on the little link and it takes you to the meat of the film.
But basically it turns out that Tom Holland is not just being invited because he's such a crafty little boy, but because that Sully used to work with his brother, the guy who disappeared out the window, and like the brother is referenced throughout the movie, but we don't see him until the very end.
Do you know what? It's just like
it's
throughout the whole film, he's like going on about his brother, and it's just like, dude, I cannot express how little of a shit I give about your fucking brother.
So basically, like, the very flimsy premise is then Tom Holland, of course, gets lured to the older man's apartment. And it turns out that Marky Mark also has the map that they got previously.
An extensive collection of Third Reich memorabilia. Nothing from the Allied side, right?
Just interested in that period of history.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is where we get that incredible patter about like, oh, this is the map of Victor of Magellan. He sailed around the world. Oh wow, you know your history. It's like, yeah, fucking incredible. Like, Jesus Christ.
Wow, the Wikipedia article for Magellan says.
Like, in Indiana Jones, we skip this by just seeing Indiana Jones give a lecture in a university. There you go. He's a smart guy. We get it. We don't have to have the same fucking plot point explained to us like 3 times.
Yeah. So anyway, the basic
problem
plot
here is though, they're trying to be fucking clever. Because it's like,
Yes.
oh, right, well, this is real history that we're, like, incorporating into the thing. Whereas with Indiana Jones, it's like, oh, we need the Fabergé egg that, like, Hitler thought was descended from the fucking dinosaurs, but is actually made by the Aztecs and has a portal to the nether realm in it. And you just go, yeah, cool. And then, you know what I mean? Like, put the hat on and go whip some motherfuckers. But, like, with this, it's like, no, you have to, like, they have to prove how many Wikipedia articles they read for this film. So it's like, yeah, Magellan sailed around the world, but he didn't actually finish the journey because he stubbed his toe and like fell off the boat or some shit, and his crew just went on without him. And so the captain and like these other fucking 17 dipshits made a couple of like fucking crosses that work as keys, and it just fucks me off so much. Like that bit when they have to combine the crosses to make one super key. Yeah, and you still only put the last inch of the key into the keyhole. It's like, what the fuck is the other one stuck to the back of that supposed to be achieving? Yeah, it's just fucking, it's insane. It's like every single one of these like mystical keyholes that they need these ancient treasures to open is just a square hole that you turn. You could do it with like literally any. You could jam your phone in there and twist it, and that would fucking open this like ancient curse. But then at one point they make a gate with a padlock on it, and the woman tries to pick the fucking padlock by just putting the blade of a knife in the keyhole.
Like the biggest
like,
fucking knife you've ever seen as well.
Where was that when you needed to turn? Yeah. But yeah, it just honestly, just like designed in a lab to fucking annoy me. This film, quite frankly. We skipped over the. Have we done the bit with the auction yet, where David's dad?
No. That's the next thing.
Fuck off.
So basically, like the whole point of the movie is a series of pointless MacGuffins, so they can find some lost ships by Magellan who left them somewhere, and they contain the most history of treasure in the treasure of history. Like there's so much treasure there that just oodles treasury, and that's what they're all looking. Yeah, that's what everybody's
They need to steal a bunch of elaborate artifacts and like combine them with the right verbs in the fucking like Monkey Island interface in order to find the end of the Goonies twice.
Yes. Yeah.
Man, this film would have been so much better if it was just fucking Monkey Island.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they do that, and then they decide to team up, even though Marky Mark already says you shouldn't trust anybody who's a treasure hunter because we all betray each other. That's what we do. We betray each other. You know, that's the betraying. That's an important plot point.
But the thing is, it's like fucking like Marky Hate Crimes is just like, oh, I need you because your brother was like fucking good at this, so I assume genetically you are as well. What I need you to do, we're going to break into this auction house. What I need you to do is turn off the lecky. And he's like, how? And it's like, well, I don't fucking know. That's what I'm paying you for. And it's like, okay, you are the worst fucking, like, you were the worst thief of all time. You're going to go into an auction house, like a really expensive auction house surrounded by armed guards and steal a fucking priceless treasure. And your big plan hinges on a fucking 12-year-old turning the fucking trip switch off. And you're not even going to tell him, like, where it is. You're just gonna trust this fucking idiot that you found and just let him do. And then obviously he doesn't get to turn the lecky off because like a fucking Scotsman interrupts him in the most Scottish way imaginable. David, go off,
flinging cans of Iron Brew, fried products, and things of this nature.
I'm going to see if this comes through. I don't know if this is going to come through or not, but let's find out.
Ladies and gentlemen, do I have a knife?
I'm spending money I don't have.
Okay, here goes nothing. Oh, God!
I shouldn't come out to play with the big boys, Ian, because you're about to get a proper Scottish welcome.
Get fucked. I'm sick of this fucking joke. Like,
yeah, the pattern
so
of the joke, in case
tedious.
you didn't get it, is like the Scottish henchman bad guy. Every time he says something, he says it with a Scottish accent, and that means nobody can understand him. It's funny because, you know, accents. ha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he didn't
Americans are a fucking disease.
He didn't want to be hired as a henchman. He actually thought he was getting a job as a welder, but like, you know what I mean? Can't express that fact to anyone.
Oh,
who employed
no.
him.
Well, actually, here the English are also at fault as well. This cunt's for fucking Leeds. I looked him up.
Another blow against representation.
Fucking prick. He's had a very, very unsuccessful looking career, so fuck him. I hope it continues. Prick bastard.
So they're at the auction house to try to steal one of two crosses, because you need two crosses, because the people who stole the gold also didn't trust each other, so they needed two crosses to work together. Get it? There's a lack of trust motive going on throughout this movie. And it's like it's a really shit heist. Like, we're very, like, you know, there's been a million heist movies so far, and this is like a really fucking shit one, basically.
I mean, the fucking heist boils down to smashing a bunch of lights and Marky Mark changing his jacket. Like, that is the sum total of the things that they do in order to try and steal the fucking like priceless artifact.
Tom Holland created a version, and then like fucking, you know what I mean, El Racismo turns his jacket inside out, and it's just like, you know, it's a special jacket when you turn it inside out. It looks exactly like the auction house staff wear.
Yeah.
And he takes the fucking cross, and then he leaves the building, and then he takes the jacket off, and rather than turn it the right way out again, just leaves it in the dumpster. Because one thing we all know when you're committing a crime is you leave evidence at the scene. I'm sure he learned that during his many arrests for fucking hate crimes in the 80s.
This film is just a counterfactual to fucking Elementary at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also like a bit here that comes back at the end of the movie. There's like a sort of post-credits bit, is where Tom Holland buys Marky Racism a cat, and then there's like cat patter, which is just fucking.
Oh, I also need a cat ellipsis.
So
yeah.
Yeah. Why did you get a cat? It's like, oh, I just got you a cat because you seemed lonely. It's really fucking. It's quite something. Done
that cat. It's gonna have a fucking fulfilling life.
Basically, the cross is stolen, and then the two of them, you have the traditional sort of Indiana Jones thing with the red line across the globe with the little plane thing, again reminding you of much better movies, or, you know, medium better movies if you're Jamie.
No, they're much better. Even if they're only mid, they're still far better than this.
Yeah, fair enough.
Relative, like.
And then
I imagine I would have at least laughed at least once if I'd rewatched one of the Indiana Jones films, original trilogy.
So they then both go to Barcelona, which is very Barcelona, and it's got all the Spanish things, as we'll discover later on.
Like Antonio Banderas,
like
just
Antonio
having a good time.
Yeah, and a church named after a tree.
And you know what? The version of this film I watched didn't have any fucking subtitles, and I still enjoyed Antonio Banderas more than any of the other fucking dialogue.
Maybe the lack of subtitles is why.
Yeah, that's true. There is some dialogue with I think Antonio Banderas' dad, who's probably expressing his disappointment as to why his son is in such a shit movie.
I mean, the first time I watched it had subtitles for this, but I don't remember what they were saying. It's just all so fucking boring, isn't it?
And this is where we meet Chloe Fraser, played by, who the fuck is that again? I can't fucking remember now anymore. Sophia Ali.
Sophia Ali.
Yeah. Who is yet another thief, treasure hunter person. And, you know, they once again have more banter about how nobody can trust each other. They can't trust each other because they're treasure hunters, and treasure hunters can't trust each other.
What these fucking treasure hunters need is a good dose of communism.
What is her accent supposed to be in this, by the way? I couldn't pin it down, because sometimes she sounded South African, then she sounded from New Zealand, and then she sounded Australian, sometimes English. Just a very, like, broad imperial accent. I didn't quite fucking understand exactly where the fuck she was going with it.
Apparently she is American, so maybe, I mean, that,
she's American, but like, I don't know what the fuck she was trying for.
No, Chloe in the games is like sort of canonically, which is a terrible word to use, is supposed to be British.
Wow, I cannot believe the Uncharted film disrespected the Uncharted canon.
Oh.
Someone fire up the wiki.
You know what? At least it's not only Scottish accents getting the fucking bare end out here, so...
So basically they have like some terrible patter, and then at the end she says, "I'll meet you at the somewhere," and then Marky Mark immediately goes, "Oh, you think you can trust her, and you think she's hot," and it of course turns out that she has cross B, and she stole cross A from our fearsome duo.
Yeah, but the thing with that whole conversation is like fucking. Do you know what I mean? That dipshit like had to be watching her as she did that. Well, fucking Wahlberg. Like, because he was standing, like, she took the thing out of fucking Spider-Man's backpack while he was standing in between the two of them. And Wahlberg was looking directly at her, so how did he not see her do that, like? Did you just think it was a teaching moment?
Probably. There's a, like, an interminable, like, parkour scene, because, like, you have to do parkour, apparently, in
do you know what? I think
Video's game.
It was around this point I just started tuning out all of the action sequences because they were just very banal.
Yeah, so there's an interminable chase sequence where
X along with the movements on screen.
Yeah, I was pushing the right arrow key actually. That seemed to make it go a bit faster.
I mean, at the end they sort of agree to cooperate anyway, so that whole chase scene you could have just like cut because there's absolutely no point. There is some like
that's basically a summary of the film, though, isn't it? And I mean, literally, nothing happens. Like, they fucking, they like, decide to trust each other, then they betray each other about 7 times. They find, like, 2 fucking ships from the end of the Goonies in a cave, and then they fucking destroy both of them.
Yeah,
and then go, we can't salvage the wrecks because, like, they belong to the people of the Philippines now. And it's like, they belong to the people of the Philippines before, I would wager.
So yeah, basically, like, one of the other reasons that apparently they need Spider-Man along is to solve really complicated riddles about, like, oh, we're looking for a tree, and it turns out the tree is not a real tree, but like the Church of the Hallowed Saint Mary of pine trees or some shit, where there's like, where they have the 2 keys which are in the forms of crosses, and they have to jam them into like different funnels basically to get it done. Yeah,
which Jamie has already established could be opened with a fucking Allen key.
Yeah. But before that, we get to the scene which, like, always, like, just infuriates me, because it's like we've already had the establishing shots of Barcelona with, like, the Gaudi Cathedral and everything, and then it's like the 3 of them have really bad dialogue in like some in a Spanish apartment, and the reason they're in Spain is they're drinking Rioja like they do in Spain. Yes, and then there's a shot of a ham, like they eat in Spain. Where are they? In Spain, because they eat ham and drink Rioja. It's a movie set in Spain. It's fucking sucks.
I thought it was Rioja.
It can be whatever you want.
I believe, David, they call that an anglicisation.
Someone should have anglicised that woman's accent.
I think that's what the result of this is.
Listen, she can get to the fucking second spot in the queue for
that. So then they go to this church, and then again, call back to much better movies. Spider-Man sees a nun, and he grew up in an orphanage run by nuns, and then he says, "Nuns, why does it have to be nuns?" Again, calling back to much superior movies, i.e. Indiana Jones, and, why does it have to be nuns? I just fucking shoot me.
But there's also the extremely important thing where he sees the fucking postcard that he got from his brother, and it's like, wow, he was also here.
Can I just say, with the fucking postcards thing, they show you a shot at the start when they're in the fucking like orphanage flashback of him using a fucking lighter under a note his brother gave him to reveal the invisible ink. And then they show you those fucking postcards so many times through the film, and you're like, oh, gee, I wonder when this fucking stupid cunt's going to remember about the invisible ink.
As soon as he fixes his unworking lighter.
At the end, sure enough, he fucking manages to find out there's invisible ink on there, and it's like, Jesus wept. After you've had like a whole fucking montage of him trying all these different fucking like tricks to figure out what the secret message is. And it's like, have you tried arson, mate? Start there.
Also, because it's so fucking wildly telegraphed from the beginning of the movie. It's like, oh, I wonder what he's supposed to do, because he's been carrying around this stupid fucking lighter the whole time. Yeah, so basically, like, they have to. There's two keys, and then one key. It's something like the one key goes to heaven and the other goes to hell. So they split up. Of course, they don't trust each other. And then they have to work together, because like you have to open the keys in a series of sequences that only work if like one turns the key upstairs and then the other one turns the key downstairs. Roughly speaking.
Also, like, I enjoyed the product placement on this bit for Tinder.
Which one? Oh yeah.
Why do you have so many apps open? Oh, I don't know. Because I'm an old racist man. Tinder man. Yeah, I don't. Oh, what does it say? Oh, I own it. Okay, cool. Thanks, guy.
Yeah. I bet fucking Facebook is like 3 of those apps he's got on.
So then we get some. It turns out that Chloe has some sad history with her bad dad who ran out on her, and that's why she has trust issues, because her dad ran out on her. That's going to be not important later, because this has already been set up a million times. And then whilst Spider-Man and Chloe are running through the basements, they like all of a sudden pop through like a sort of hatch, and then it turns out they're in a disco in a basement, because that's the thing they have in Barcelona. They have basement bars. Did you know that we're in Barcelona? Mm-hmm. And then there's a fight in the bar, because the Scottish guy and some other guy have found them there for reasons I won't bother going into.
The other guy, they couldn't even be asked to give an offensive accent to.
Yeah. And then there's a terrible, terrible bartender fight where like was Spider-Man like
he does some hilarious part though, doesn't he? Where he suggests the guy wants like a girly drink or something.
Oh yeah. He does. Like, what kind of drink do you want? Do you want a sex on the beach? So that's a funny name, isn't it? Isn't that funny?
Meanwhile, he's credited as the Scotsman as well, isn't he?
Yes, and he's also named once as Scotty.
Yeah. Really pushing the boat out here, aren't they? On writing.
Scotty the Scotsman, yeah.
Not enough violence was done to the right people.
But it was nice to see the Scotsman like absolutely like punching the shit out of Tom Holland.
Yeah. And then there's some other dreadful stuff. It's basically like this is the closest bit you get to like the Uncharted games, where there's like massive, needlessly complicated machinery that's still standing after like 500 plus years in the middle of a major urban area that like nobody's ever spotted before, when they were like, I don't know, trying to like lay some IT cables or some shit like that.
Okay, but because they're Americans, they assume that like Europe's just stood exactly unchanged since like 4 AD or some shit.
Yeah, that Papa John's that they name drop for the fight.
That they have fuck me! Yeah, speaking of racist,
yeah, it's the only new development in Barcelona.
Yeah, it's just so Marky Mark could have a pizza at a whites only space, I guess. So there's some other stuff. Spider-Man and the girl nearly drown because of reasons. But then straight after that, their phones still work, which is really fucking weird. Because like, how does that work? But never mind.
His pockets are lined with rice.
This does keep fucking happening.
And then basically it turns into...
The phones still work, or they've got fucking notes or something that are conspicuously fucking dry in the next scene. It's really, really, really fucking annoying.
Because they're in their inventory.
Video game logic.
Yeah, they're in his inventory.
Yeah, it's hammer space,
Yeah.
Where things go.
So basically then there's like a stupid like logic puzzle, like a Towers of Hanoi but dumber, where they have to do like some key turning bullshit again. My note just says that this is the Da Vinci Code, but for cunts, and the Da Vinci Code is already a very bad movie. So
yeah, at least those films had fucking Tom Hanks in it. Like I'd watch anything with him in it, really.
I mean, those movies are really fucking absolute ass. Also, one of my least favorite periods ever in the history of recorded universe, where like for 3 months people actually started conversations with me saying like, do you also think that Jesus had children? I'm like, you read the bad book, why are you reading the bad book? Stop doing that.
Yeah, I mean,
T. Hanks told me otherwise.
fuck Dan Brown, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I know very well the period of time you're talking about. It's what historians will later refer to as the Greater Intellectual Wasteland.
The true Dark Age.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's also like a series of ship patter where Marky Mark is just like sticking his head not through a grate, but like screaming through the bars of the gate saying, "Where are you? Are you okay?" Which is like, it is what your senile dad would do, but...
It's great because they have these like stupid fucking in-ear like communicator things, but like...
And their phones out. They're consistently on their phones. It's like, but you have to shout through the fucking grate.
Listen, he's 14 years old. Of course he's on his phone.
So they get into the final room, which doesn't actually contain the treasure like they thought it would, but like there's some big jars full of salt for no fucking reason. But inside the jars, there's yet another MacGuffin, which is yet another map, and that points them to the next plot location or the next, I don't know, I assume they got like tax breaks for filming in wherever they were filming.
But then it turns out like the fucking wifey runs off with the map because she's like secretly working for the other, like secretly working for Banderas. Mm-hmm. We haven't actually mentioned like we mentioned like Banderas and the Scotsman, but have we mentioned like the fucking woman, like
the hench woman person?
Yeah, I can't remember her fucking name.
No, because no one in this film's fucking memorable at all. That is
played by Tati Gabrielle. Braddock.
Braddock. Yep.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, she's like working for Banderas and used to work with Sully and is like a fucking like, you know what I mean, karate expert or some shit. And almost strangles Mark Wahlberg to death.
Yeah. Missed opportunities.
One of the most disappointing scenes, like, yeah. But then it turns out that like fucking like Chloe was working alongside her without either of them knowing.
Yeah, it's just a series of inane double crosses upon double crosses that really don't lead anywhere at all ever, for no good reasons, like, and they can't stop pattering about it. Oh, can't trust each other.
It's like when fucking kids play superheroes in the schoolyard. And it's like, oh, well, I'm Superman, so you can't, like, hit me. And it's like, oh, but I'm, like, fucking Batman, so I've got, like, nerve gas. Well, I'm nerve gas proof because I'm wearing a hat. Just, you know what I mean? Like, they couldn't be asked to write the whole film at once. So they just did it in, like, 5-minute bursts and forgot everything that, like, they'd previously established every 10 minutes. And
that's why it took so long to produce, I imagine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just stick it all together at the end.
You cast Spider-Man, though, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody arrives in the Philippines for plot reasons in various ways, except en route. People get captured. It's all very boring. I really can't be asked to go into it, but basically
they all sneak on to fucking
Antonio Banderas
is playing. Antonio Banderas has his dad killed.
Yeah,
and then like they all go on his big cargo plane, like fucking. Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland hide in the boot of a fucking, like, tiny fucking sports car somehow.
Yeah. Anyway, so the Antonio Banderas does, like, his villain exposition speech, like, you know, this is my birthright for
and then immediately gets his throat cut in the most bloodless way ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they could just not show you it. They cut away, like, you see the fucking like wifey who's betraying him come up behind him with their big fucking like special forces knife and put it to his throat, and then it cuts to someone else reacting as you hear the universal sound of a throat being cut.
Yeah.
And then you could just go, all right, okay, so it's implied that like a spray of fucking blood just coated all of his mercenaries, but like no, they cut back to him and he's literally just got a fucking like red line drawn on his neck in crayon. And then they show you about 4 more times. He's just lying on the floor there with his throat cut, and it's literally just a fucking pencil line across with maybe 2 drops of blood coming down. I'm like, holy shit, that is fucking impressively bad.
This film it's rated at 12, right? But
if you're not allowed to show like a fucking, do you know what I mean, a guy getting his throat like sliced open, then just don't show it. You were the one who wrote the fucking film, like, you know what I mean? Just have them shoot him or something.
I think the 12 rating was maybe like more than they were going for, because they don't even reference people being killed. they will simply say they are gone. That happens like twice, where someone is quite clearly either being killed or is dead, and they will not mention death in any way, shape, or form. It's fucked up.
Yeah, it's entirely fucking bloodless. But that in particular, like, just really wound me up because they keep cutting back to him on the floor with like a fucking red line on his neck, and I'm like, does he just not have any blood? Like,
I think it's basically like
invisible?
the cutbacks are like that
Is he an
that thing where it's
X-Man?
like if you don't see him dead, he's going to come back for the sequel. So I think Antonio Banderas was just like,
maybe.
kill my character, make it incredibly visible, so you can never invite me back. I hope that's what it
But
is.
they didn't make it incredibly visible though. It looked like he was faking it.
So yeah, now Braddock is in charge of all the mercenaries, which is fine. And this is where we cut back into the opening scene. So everybody escapes from different places, and then you have the incredibly bad CGI where the cargo is hanging out the end of the aircraft. And then Tom Holland indeed says, "Oh no, what now?" or some other bullshit, and gets hit by the car, which is driven by Chloe. And then the two of them just fall through the sky together, and then they hold in another weird sort of physics thing. They like hold on to a flying crate, and while yanking the parachute. I'm like, surely, like that would at the very minimum dislocate both your shoulders, like something fierce. Like you would have to fucking die at that point.
You know what I'm more amazed by was the choice to do this like flashback thing and have us go like a full hour and a bit into the film. In fact, I think it's like fucking 3/4 of the way through, or 2/3 or some shit.
It's purely
because
because
to this point again, and it's jarring as fuck to go. All right, okay, so now the flashback from the start of the film is going. How long is left in this fucking film?
Yeah, but that's a ploy to keep like fucking children interested, though.
Yeah, they were absolutely gagging to start in medias res, right? They're just it's like, this is the exciting part of the film, and now here's like an hour of expository shit dialogue. Enjoy.
Yeah, we realise there's a bunch of fucking like 6-year-olds in the theatre who just want to see like fucking Nathan Drake fall out of a plane, but like we have to establish the world for like everyone who gives a fuck.
These children must earn the plane.
It's worth saying that throughout this entire fucking like action scene with like fucking like Nathan Drake almost dying like 6 times and getting hit by a car, and like all the characters involved except Wahlberg, who like fucking jumped out with a parachute like before it all kicked off.
Yeah,
because he's down on the beach like fucking like racially abusing people or something.
No, and also like that's another thing. Like, I mean, look, it's no surprise that the Indiana Jones movies do it as well. Like most of these types of movies do, but like that Spider-Man and Marky Mark aren't going to die. Like that's pretty given, for the whole thing. It's not that kind of movie, but it's like there's no stakes. There's for any of these people, it's like, oh, he almost gets hit, but you're like, no, he's not. He's not. There's no hint of danger. There's no moment of like, oh, this could actually end up kind of fucked. It's like, no, because they are both made of instantanium and they can't be hurt, and everybody else can be.
It's a video game. Video games don't have stakes.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
if you made a video game with stakes, gamers would yell at you.
Imagine if they included every single save and reload.
Yeah.
That's what they should do is just have a random chance that the film will end at a random scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To simulate me playing this game for like an hour and then never playing it again.
You're just sitting in the cinema, like not enjoying the shit movie, and then halfway through it just blue screens and says, "Please insert floppy 2 to continue." That would make this a much better movie.
You just get a death scene, and then that's it. You need to leave the fucking theatre, and if you want to, you can try again. They make so much more money this way. They could double their profits. Sony, I have an idea that will pull your failing company out of the toilet.
So yeah, they land. Chloe and Spider-Man land. They get to some kind of very fancy hotel. Then of course, Tom Holland has stolen Sully's credit card because tee isn't it funny? And it is of course at this point that they spend, Jamie referenced it earlier, they spent like a night and a half like staring at his brother's postcards, and it's only at like the very end that like Spider-Man works it out, and it sucks so much. It's just like
Someone will is about this, by the way. I found out the guy at the hotel that says about, oh yeah, that happened to me as well. That is the voice actor. That's Nolan North.
Okay.
Who's the voice actor for Nathan Drake in the games?
All right. Well,
they couldn't have made that more obvious if they tried, really.
No.
But again, like you have to do that, don't you? Because no one knows what the fuck that guy looks like.
Yeah. Well, see, they did the same thing in the Last of Us series, and they just got that guy to just play some random character, and it worked out fine. Like, there wasn't really any fucking circumstance about it. It just worked.
Right, and this is where we get to one of the more annoying bits. This is where they have to get... Tom Holland works out that you have to combine all three of the MacGuffins together to get to the right location, because otherwise, like, you get sent to the wrong location.
This was awful. This was absolute fucking dog shit. The real treasure was in your heart the whole time. Fuck off. I hate this part of the movie. Like, I was trying not to pay much attention, but this fucked me off like nothing else.
Yeah, so basically what you have to do is like these two cross keys they've been carrying around the whole time. You have to like pop the caps off, both of them, and then insert them into the right pins on the map, and then like where
you have to slot them onto the map and have them point at the one part of the map that has literally any fucking detail drawn on it whatsoever.
It is the fucking special knife in the last Star Wars film.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's exactly as fucking dumb as that, and I hate it. I hate that was used in a film, ridiculed to fuck, and then they went, ooh.
I really hate that you remind me of the existence of the special knife. I'd finally fucking forgotten that.
I will never let anyone forget that happened.
I'm blissfully unaware of this special knife, so I'm just going to keep it that way.
Right, okay. The special knife was an ancient-ass fucking knife with this weird fucking shaped blade to it. And what you did was you had to hold that blade up because the blade itself was a map. But to find out where it was a map to, the map from this knife, which is ancient, perfectly lined up in silhouette with the wreckage from the Death Star, which was not ancient and was quite recent.
Yeah. And also, like,
but also, like, it
just
points to like a cupboard on the Death Star as well, doesn't it? It's like, oh, remember that throne room that the fucking lad had on the Death Star with, like, you know, the big windows and the fucking chair and everything. What if there was a cupboard attached to that where he kept all of his cool shit?
Yeah, the Emperor's fucking cloakroom. Oh,
whilst we're doing this tangent, you could actually, like in sort of the high-end tat shops here in Switzerland, you could buy the Star Wars knife, but it has like the ridge lines are of like existing mountain chains here in the country, and like if I buy one, do I get a secret special treasure as well?
Do you think there's a Death Star cupboard on top of one of those mountains? Like,
I'm going to keep looking until I find one.
If you build it, maybe
the Emperor's crampons.
Yep.
Fucking hell. Oh.
Also, like to your point, Alistair, of like this is the two crosses point together to the only feature on the map. You
gotta make the crosses kiss to find out where the treasure is.
Yeah. The thing is, though, right? Like they would actually the two crosses would meet up at 2 points on that map because that's how circles work. Surely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the other bit doesn't have the other bit that they'd meet up at, Jamie, doesn't have any fucking detail on it, so you know it's the wrong one.
Yeah. That bit just said, "Here be dragons."
So they go. Everybody ends up in the wrong location except for Spider-Man because he knows how to do the crossy mappy thing, and then he gets to like
he leaves a cunning trick for the fucking wifey who he knows will betray him again.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he writes down the wrong coordinates and says, "Chloe, this is where we have to go tomorrow."
Secret treasure, do not steal.
Cannot believe Spider-Man would tell a lie.
You've got the rest of the movie off now.
And this is like, you get this fucking terrible scene where like he's on a boat and he's like, and it's this like the secret hidey hole of the treasure beyond all treasures is like a natural cave the size of, I don't know, the Chrysler Building or something. It's fucking massive, and it's visible from like
and it has
every end of the ocean.
And it has a hole in the roof.
Yeah, and it's just like, how do you honestly think that in all the long history of known civilization in the Philippines, nobody after those two boats were like jammed in there went, hey, that looks cool, shall we go to have a look? Like just shit.
I think I'm going to skip back to the hotel briefly. Just okay, yeah. In this fucking, I don't know what rating they were chasing. They're sharing a bed. Nothing happens. It is completely like
it's
inert
very
in
asexual.
every way, shape, and form. It's like but it's not though. Like if that's the vibe, it would be fine.
I'm
just going to
say
the vibe.
Tom Holland is shaped like a Ken doll. It's fine.
I just don't get it. Like, why have them share a room in that case? Like, what you've put it on the screen. They're sharing a bed, but there's like no even like remote chemistry that's hinted at towards there beyond the stuff that you've done previously in the film. I'm aware that this is because it's a victim of like 7 fucking directors or whatever, but it's just very weird.
I mean, it's basically because they're sort of setting it up like that. They in the games they used to date for a bit, and then what's his face? Nathan Drake meets the love of his life, who's called Helena, I think. And who isn't featured in this movie, so I presume that she
Helena
will turn
Troy,
up.
That's her.
Therefore, Tom Holland and Brad Pitt will have to fight it out over her. Yeah, so everybody, Tom Holland gets to the boat with Marky Mark, who's done yelling abuse at all the staff at the hotel, I guess, and they find not one, but it's as you say, Jamie, it's basically the ending of the Goonie, but twice as many ships.
Yeah, literally,
and
but also helicopters.
Then there's all the treasure aboard.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
But yeah, like Tom Holland gets on the boat and finds the fucking treasure, and then Mark Wahlberg's just there, and it's like cool.
Yeah, how did he get there?
The map and the crosses were really important then.
Oh no! That's explained because he never closes his apps, and he was still tracking him. Yeah.
Oh well.
Chekhov's app.
Yeah. So yeah, anyway, there's 2 big cargo helicopters. Each one of them lifts out. I'm going to skip over some plots because it's very boring. Because like now the bad guys.
It's great, right? They hide in a fucking cupboard on the boat and drink like 400-year-old like piss they found in a bottle or something. But then like meanwhile, the fucking wifey turns up with all the henchmen. They search the boats and go, oh, they're not on there. They must have fucking legged it. And then they like. You see them all like digging at the sides of the boats, and then next thing you know, the helicopters are lifting the boats up in giant nets, and it's like, how did you get that under the boat? Just someone explain that to me there.
It's not even nets, it's just 2 big fucking straps. They just put 2 big belts on the fucking thing.
Yeah, but even so, like, you know what I mean? The boats are beached, so how did you get the fucking like thing underneath?
They show a couple of goons like with some shovels, so I imagine that's
well, yeah, but
weight of Spanish galleon. How much do these things weigh?
But the thing is, they're digging down the sides. That boat's going to fall over before you, like, you know what I mean? It's not Minecraft. You can't just dig underneath it and have it float in the air while you put straps under it. Like
1,000 tons on average.
Yeah, that's fine. You can lift that.
Yeah, easy. 1 helicopter.
Yeah, so essentially, both the ships get airlifted out, also without like any damage.
When does the Scottish fella get in the helicopter?
At some point,
because he's in the cave with the boats. Because I think it's him that says like they like, you know what I mean? They must have like filled their fucking pockets with gold and run away. And then
Jamie, you just get outside of his render distance. He'll despawn, and then when you next see him, he'll be in a helicopter. It's fine.
Yeah, so both of the ships full of treasure get airlifted out, both attached to 1 helicopter, and then there's like a chase scene because Spider-Man and Marky Mark end up in control of 1 boat helicopter thing, and then the bad guys are in the other, and then there's just an interminable chase scene which like might have been interesting at some point, I guess, but not. It's incredibly boring.
Yeah.
It's also at this point that that Tom Holland puts on like the final bit of the Nathan Drake outfit, and he has like the double shoulder leather gun holsters, and he just immediately turns into a fucking assassin and just like starts headshotting people. It's fucking wild.
Yeah.
It's like how did that happen all of a sudden?
It's great though. Like the dedication to like the fucking copying the games is great because he kills about 50 people during this sequence.
Yeah.
And no one comments on it or thinks it's like weird or anything. He's just stone cold, like fucking sending people to their death, whether he's shooting them or pushing them over the side of the fucking like skyboat or whatever.
Yeah. So there's the two skyboats. The skyboats bang into each other a few times, but that's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fucking incredible in terms of the physics of this movie.
It really is the most boring horse shit imaginable. Like,
yeah, again, because there's no stakes. Because
it's the sort of thing. It's the sort of thing that, like, in a competent director's hands, would be like could have been an all-timer fucking like action sequence. Do you know, like, if you'd seen a film do something like this that like wasn't attached to, you know what I mean? If someone just made a film that you'd never heard of, it wasn't based on a video game or a comic or anything, and you watched it and it ended with like two fucking Spanish galleons being carried through the sky, like ramming into each other. People would talk about that forever as like what a cult classic it was and how it was insanely visionary. Here, it's like fucking wallpaper paste. It's just so fucking bland. It's unreal. But yeah, they like fucking they kill off all the henchmen. They fire the cannon on the boat at the fucking Scottish guy's helicopter. Because he's coming to ram them, but he's not coming to ram them with the boat. He's flying his helicopter. He's going to ram their galleon with his helicopter. It seems.
Oh no, it's better than that. He's holding his pistol up at his head so you can see it in frame. So he's clearly getting close so that he can carry out an execution from the helicopter.
Extreme, like Warhammer riding a bear into battle and riding a tank into battle rather with a sword, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but they shoot the helicopter. They shoot the helicopter with a cannon on the galleon, and it like the great bit where he picks up the gunpowder when he's like coming out of the he's below decks because he falls below decks fighting a guy, kills the guy, loots his corpse for the fucking like twin pistols and holster, and then just like there's an insert shot of like a little pocket, like a little leather pouch of gunpowder, and you hear Tom Holland go gunpowder. Like, it's just the most video game shit imaginable.
Let me put this into my inventory, yeah.
Yeah, so then he uses gunpowder on cannon, and then uses fucking, like, lighter on gunpowder to fucking, like, fire the cannon. The helicopter, like, crashes, but not before the fucking, like, evil, like, fucking villain lady jumps off and hangs from a rope on their boat, and then climbs up and drops the anchor. She drops the anchor, and then you get like a shot of the fucking helicopter like straining against it, and it's like it's a helicopter. It can stay in one place. They're famous for that.
Yeah. And not doing that.
Yeah, Tom Holland like fights her, and then the boat falls off the helicopter. She dies.
She gets the boat dropped on her head, basically.
Yeah, not before Marky Mark and Tom Holland share a very touching moment where Marky Mark says, actually, people are worth more than gold, and throws a bag of gold at the lady.
Yeah. He's put the helicopter on autopilot so he can go and rescue the bag of gold that was sliding out the back of it. But, like, he gets the bag of gold. It's not like he even has to give up reaching for the bag of gold in order to switch his focus to saving, like, fucking Tom Holland, which is now how films normally work, you know what I mean? Like, again, the end of, like, fucking... the end of the fucking Last Crusade, where, like, the fucking German woman's desperately trying to reach the fucking Holy Grail, and she falls into the ravine, and, like, because Indy can't reach her, or can't hold on to her, and then, like, someone grabs Indy, and he's reaching for the cup, and it would have been really funny if just everyone else in the film had just slowly gone into that ravine one at a time. But yeah, like, they don't even do that here. Like, fucking Mark Wahlberg gets the bag of gold and has it on the helicopter, where he could just easily then turn his attention to saving, like, fucking Tom Holland. And then, like, you know, because the helicopter's about to, like, the thing holding the boat's about to break off. So, but instead he throws the entire bag of gold at the woman just to make sure she's double dead before she falls to her death. And, like... and then saves, like, fucking Tom Holland, They get on the fucking helicopter, and Tom Holland reveals that he's actually pocketed 2 bars of gold, a coin, and some chewing gum, which he gives to Mark Wahlberg. And then, like, they
this
live
will be
happily
useful
ever
for a
after.
puzzle later.
Mark Wahlberg goes home and, like, teaches his cat to hiss at Persian people or something. I don't know.
So all's well that ends well, and then we get treated, of course, to not 1 but 2 post-credit sequences. Cause,
2?
I
yes.
skipped these.
I saw one.
Which one did you see?
So
I saw the one where the dude in the eye patch.
Oh, the shittest character from the Game of Thrones series.
You're on fucking Greyjoy.
You're on fucking Greyjoy. It took me a long while to recognize him, and then I remembered the Lindsay Ellis YouTube thing that she did about Game of Thrones, where she called him the Hot Topic Pirate, and I was like, hey, there's the Hot Topic Pirate. Because he's wearing a fucking eye patch, so it's just like, Jesus Christ, this really is. And there's some bad banter about buying or stealing a Nazi gold map. I mean, I assume that Marky Mark knows where those things are anyway.
Why does Matt just go to Switzerland?
No, it's just like you just ask Marky Mark. It's like, hey, can you get some of your history memorabilia friends to tell us where the gold is? They're
going to end up buying one of those knives you were talking about.
Well, they are very fucking expensive. And they are supposed to buy it with the ring, the ring that we mentioned at the start of this fucking recording, the Nathan Drake ring that's supposed to belong to Sir Francis Drake. And then Sully turns up and saves everybody, and then Sully's carrying the cat because reference.
I can't help but
why
think.
Why does he need to save everyone? Because they couldn't trust him and they were betrayed.
I can't help but think that a better way of storing a ring, rather than wearing it around your neck, is probably just putting it on your fucking finger. But
but you might have to resize it if you're like a tiny little boy.
He's only got little baby hands, yeah.
Yeah, just put it on your thumb, you freak.
Just wear it as a monocle.
The real brain genius move is to wear it as a toe ring.
And then there's another post-credit sequence where you see, like, it's a panning shot inside a prison, and then you don't see a face, but you do see, like, a hunched figure in prison outfit in his cell writing yet another postcard saying, watch your back and don't trust anybody. And that's obviously Sam, who is not dead, but turns out to be still alive.
Hurrah.
Wow, look forward to the sequel.
So what did we learn, apart from the fact that Mark Wahlberg is a cunt?
Trust no one, especially not Sony.
Yeah.
The fact that this film was banned in the Philippines and Vietnam.
Yes.
Because of territorial disputes in the South China Sea.
Yeah, they came for the Barbie movie the same way.
Yeah.
What have we learned is that, once again, there is no such thing as a good video game movie. It doesn't exist. Because
That's
it's
not
fun.
true,
Well, no, the Mario movie isn't good. Sorry.
We're not doing a cultural committee on it. I'm not doing it.
No,
there will be no more cultural committees until the next time when we do Andor. That will be the next one. And there's no two ways about it. I've been fucking sabotaged once here. It will not happen again. Well, let's call it here. More episodes coming up. Bonus episodes on the bonus feed, patreon.com/praxiscast. Streams on Wednesdays and Thursdays, twitch.tv/praxiscast, and merch available at praxiscast.tmail.com.
And follow us at Praxiscast on Blue Sky. Come hang out with the other refugees.
Yeah, I think you have to say at praxiscast.bluesky.fucking.elo or some shit.
Social. Yeah, Blue Sky. Praxiscast.bsky.social. If you can get an invite, because you're not getting one of us, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me someone give me an invite. I need one. Thanks.
Jamie's on now. At Jamie.
Yeah. Yeah, just at Jamie.
I wonder who that is on Twitter.
We'll never know. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.